Joining us on the phone lines right now, a gentleman by the name of Mike Byrnes. Mike, good morning and welcome to Merrimack Valley Radio.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me.
It is our pleasure. You, my friend, are the owner of a small business here in the Commonwealth, a consulting business. Tell us a little bit about your company.
Yeah, I started back in April of 2008, and as you alluded before the break, the timing wasn't the best timing with the market and everything, but
timing
I really
is
love
everything
what I
in
do.
life.
I'm in the business to help businesses become more successful, and it's a great space to be.
So, Mike, you're like the lifesaver for a business here. You know, when I hear the word grow, it almost seems like a foreign language in this economy. How can you get your business to grow even when the economy isn't?
It's funny. I do a presentation on that, and I've noticed some similar traits between different companies. One of the things is that they have a business plan, that they know where they want to go. They have that vision, and they have a mission statement that says, this is who we are, and this is why we're in business. I always say, using an example, back in the days when they created the railroads, they knew where they were going to go before they laid down the tracks. A lot of companies need to think that same way. They need to know where they want to arrive before they start to lay down the tracks.
So what would you say are some of the big challenges that businesses face? What are some of the mistakes that maybe people make when they're jump starting?
Oftentimes they get spread too thin, so they need to, again, you have that business plan to nail down those top 3 to 5 initiatives so they don't take their eye off the ball. It's very common for small businesses to have too many things going on and they get spread too thin. I always give the example of a juggler. They might have a good juggler might be able to have 12 balls in the air, and then what happens when you throw that 13th in and they can't handle it? All the balls fall to the ground. So they really need to stay focused on what are the things that are the most important.
Yeah, I would think so. 12 is a lot. Social media is also a huge part of it, I would think, and it's a big part of our lifestyle, except for people like Teddy here. He won't go on Facebook unless he's making fun of people, particularly myself. But for everybody else, it's a big part of their daily routine. What effect does social media have on the business world?
It's funny, and Teddy, maybe I'll sell you in a couple minutes on this conversation, but first it was newspapers. They came in and revolutionized communications. Then it was radio. TV came along, and now it's social media. A lot of people are spending their time online, whether it be Facebook or other different social networking groups. And there's a huge opportunity out there. The one thing for small businesses is that it's really inexpensive and free, so they can take advantage of this for relatively low cost. To be honest, there is a cost, and that's the time and effort that you put into it. But
right.
When you go and sign up for all these different groups, it is free.
Now, the challenge, I would imagine, Mike, is for business people who want to use Facebook, who want to use social media, to get their message, their product, to stand out from the other mindless drivel that will occupy it. What's a good strategy to use? What can people do to make sure, let's say, for instance, my business, that what I want to get out there is being paid attention to and not, getting lost in with, the other 25 messages that say, hey, I had to drop the kids off at school. What kind of coffee should I get next?
I think that's a great point. When I look back at the traits of the most successful businesses, they know what target market they want to go after. If you try to be all things to all people, nobody is successful at that. So if you're refined and know who you want to have as clients or customers, then you're more likely to be able to go after them. And that applies to any marketing, and especially social media. Once you know who you're trying to get, then you can be experts in that niche and find out where they are on the social media landscape, and then penetrate them by communicating where they are again.
I know you have a big list of sort of PR essential rules. What are some of those for people who might not know how to tackle maybe the PR end of their business?
PR is a great thing. It actually can be one of those low-cost initiatives that just gives you credibility. Again, when you know who your target market is, you'll know what they're reading, what TV shows they're watching, etc. I recommend that they follow those publications, etc., and start to build relationships with reporters or journalists that are actually communicating to that audience that they want to get a hold of. As you start to build up those relationships, companies can then start to pitch articles or appear as an expert in that area, and they'll start to get quoted over time. And PR is terrific because it just builds up credibility. Most PR is positive, and if you do get that positive PR, I always recommend that companies take advantage of it, put it on their website, let their clients and prospects know.
It is 9:47 here on 980 WCAP. We are speaking with Mike Byrnes, the owner of a small business here in Massachusetts, whose business is to help you succeed in business.
Yeah, and Teddy, not only does he do that, but he also, Mike, you started up a networking group for people who were hit hard by the economy. Tell us a little bit about this great group.
Yeah, it started back in the fall last year. I knew probably over 30 individuals that were out of the jobs, and it was a tough time for everybody. So I got a group together, and I thought, it's really hard for individuals now to go and look and post for a job. They might find one great job, but by the time it's posted, there's probably over 100 applicants. And a lot of times the jobs are filled before they're even public. So what I did is created this group. Everybody gets together, and they share opportunities and help open doors. One of the things that I always found is that you can't judge a book by its cover. Someone might seem like they're not in the industry that you know, but they always know maybe 100 or even 1,000 people. So if you're nice to them and try to help them, they can repay the favor.
Yeah, that's so true. I think some people hear the word networking, and it's a really intimidating word, and they might not necessarily know how to do it, how to network. Do you have any tips for people who might be looking to network or maybe just want to get a job?
One of the things that I coach my clients on is to have a great elevator speech. If you have 30 seconds or 2 minutes or 5 minutes, your presentation to the person you're talking to is going to be much more refined if you practice this and are able to clearly articulate what you're looking for. That way, if you stumble over this and you at a networking event and you have a minute, if you lose their attention or can't clearly articulate what you're all about and what you're looking for, then how do you expect them to help you? So that's really one thing that they should be well refined at.
Sure.
Mike, you talked about having a plan if you're a business person, and I think anyone who opens a business, they certainly don't plan for failure. They think in their mind they've got the plan that'll make their business succeed where others might have failed before. Yet you see so many of these startup businesses, and they very rarely get out of the second and third year. What's the main pratfall that gets business owners?
I'm sorry, what's the main?
What's the main thing? What's the main mistake that will get most business owners and cause them to derail before they really even get started?
Before they get started, one big mistake is just not having a good strategy. They might like their concept. They didn't do any research to see if the concept would resonate with who they're going to try to sell their product or service to, and they just jump in the pool without knowing if there's water there. That's one big mistake. Two is having a roadmap to succeed and having those measures of success so that after 1 month, after a quarter, after half a year, after a year, you know if you're heading in the right direction. It always scares me when small businesses go out of business after a couple years and they just didn't see it happening. There's so many warning signs that can help them, steer in a better direction.
Mike, all valuable tips. Thank you so much. In case people want to benefit from your services, why don't you give your website and contact info for them right now?
Oh, sure. It's Byrnes Consulting. The last name is spelled Byrnes. So that's ByrnesConsulting.com. And the number is 832-4-BYRNES, which again is 832-429-7637.
All right. He's full of tips. Mike Byrnes, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Great. Thank you for having me on.